My captains of America, welcome to Alpha Book Club. If you are new to the party, this is our online interactive book club for our Alpha community members. Hello, welcome. We've got wine. Hopefully you do too. Every single month we like to read a different book that you choose, and while we're reading it, we'll break down the characters, themes, influences, adaptations, and everything in between. Hi there, I'm Maude Garrett, and joining me as always, we've got Nerdist's editor-in-chief, Rachel Heine.
Woo!
Hello.
And Geek and Sundries, Hector Navarro.
I like wine.
Yeah, you do.
I like it. I like to drink it.
Some
oh my
fine
god, that
wine.
gif of you from last week.
Yeah, you like those skills?
That was.
That
This
was
thing.
amazing.
You were doing that.
It was like,
you were playing a dangerous game.
I know, I was sweating too.
You guys, this we're drinking tonight
It's
is
really nice.
It's delicious.
That's
it's called
going down quite easily.
Gnarly Head.
Gnarly.
And it is a bold, sophisticated wine. I think it's very appropriate. It's 2014 because this looks like a world tree on the front here.
Oh, I
right?
like.
Yggdrasil. That's what it looks like. Love it.
And shout out to the chat who's saying welcome back. Yes, sorry I wasn't here last week. I was in London.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. No, great. As always, welcome to our Alpha community members, which I just gave a shout out to. We can't do this show without you. Get some vodka, says the moderator. I need you to calm down, son. Anyway, we are in our third week of discussion about Neil Gaiman's horror. What was
Everything. Horror, sex,
He's saving me right
mythology.
now. He's like rescuing me. American
Absolutely
Gods. How's the week going for you guys? And what happened last week? Fill me in.
It's pretty good. We talk about the book and some stuff
This is what happens when you have gnarly head.
It was like pretty chill.
Pretty cool, pretty boring.
It was like pretty all right.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, I actually, that's actually what I sound like because I'm from LA. Like, when I hear myself sometimes, I'm like, oh no.
Every once in a while, I throw out
Dude,
a
I call
San
a lot of people
Diegan, because I'm from San Diego. Every once
from
in a while,
Australia.
I say, dude, what, really?
Yeah.
I have never known that about you. That's amazing.
What if I wasn't? What if I'd mastered the accent just
I would
to get
I would
jobs?
not like you. I would not like you as a
And
person.
I was like really
That's
from
a
like
really
Louisiana
long
or
con.
something
I
this
would not
whole
like you.
time, and I fooled you. That would be so funny. Anyway, keep going. Hector.
How long can you keep up Louisiana?
Oh, you know what? I read all True Blood in this accent. The whole like
Really?
7 books.
So in your head, you read it.
I
the
read
whole-
it in a southern accent. I did.
So you're good at southern accents then.
No. I like to think so.
Yeah. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Say Sookie Stackhouse.
So good. We digress.
Yeah.
Last week we actually we got really thematic with it. We were touching different points, but we sort of were
With
talking.
one hand or two?
2 hands because you weren't here.
Ooh,
So.
Ah, yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And we had to drink the wine without.
Yeah. Those 2 hands. Yeah. Yes.
We realized that without you, we're splitting this bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you got to drunk
Yes, we
town.
did.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Too much.
that was fun though.
Loss of Numbers reminds us we had a grammar lesson last week,
That's cool.
which was really interesting.
yeah.
Talked a little bit about words.
We did.
Thierry says backing up and rolling over. That's so sad. That's
Thierry,
so sad.
I looked up how to pronounce your name on YouTube.
Thierry?
I was saying Terry because I'm an idiot. Thierry.
Pinkish just says,
Thierry.
I had gnarly head last week. Ha! Not talking about the wine. No, that's great.
Yes!
Oh,
That
so
someone
funny.
is. Ow, that's like instant karma. What else happened?
We talked about media a lot and how Gillian Anderson is playing her in the show.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So great,
Oh,
right?
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to figure out were they going to modify old footage of I Love Lucy and now in this section Cheers,
Yeah.
or were they going to have whoever was playing media, who's going to be Gillian Anderson, dressed up? And Rachel, you were saying like
Brian Fuller tweeted out a picture that's 4 different quadrants
That's
of
right.
her face,
Uh-huh.
and each one's a different classic character. So
So
we
she'll be
had
playing them.
Lucy. If you look in the image, and I
the image?
imagine that they're going to kind of take these characters because they're building upon this, so things will be different. But people on Twitter sleuthed out who all the 4 were, and they were
very cool.
very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's
and some of them I
exciting.
don't think show up in the book, but they're
Ooh.
really good.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
look at that on Twitter if you want. And then we talked a lot about Salim and the Ifrit because we were all talking about
chapter, man.
I know, isn't that incredible? And and I'm curious actually where you come out on this. So we were trying to figure out if he was passing the curse along.
He was.
If it was a gift.
Yes.
Because some
Curse,
people in
not
the
a gift.
chat were thinking that it was sort of a gift, and I was firmly on the side of like,
No, it's a curse.
that it was a curse, but that it felt to me really sad and tender, like he was holding out for so long, trying not to do that, and possibly maybe someone had given it to him, and so he didn't want to give that to someone else.
Earnestly lonely.
Yes.
Like he was so lonely and just
Both of them.
downtrodden. Yeah, he's just been
felt
walked on.
so we were trying to figure out, like, I felt bad for Salim. I didn't know if it was like these two dudes found each other in the city and they want to hook up, they happen to be gay, or if it was like
No, he's married.
Salim was married?
Yeah. It's
I
his
missed that
But
part.
that
wife.
also
The
doesn't
whole
mean
company
that-
is his
Right,
wife's.
but it doesn't necessarily, right, it could mean that he's just on the down low, which is a thing.
That is true.
You know,
I saw it
that's-
as these gods seduce. Doesn't
and
matter if
that's
you're
why
gay
I
or
was like,
straight,
that's what made
you're
me
just
feel so
in.
bad,
Yeah.
is that it was like a super like sexy, this intense love scene, and it seemed like I couldn't tell if Neil Gaiman was writing that Salim was into it or if he was being sort of like glamored, you know, like a
Right.
vampire. And I felt bad that he just got the curse passed on to him. So
I like to
But he
think
just was
that
so
it's-
accepting. This is what I've noticed. Like
Right.
once you've been,
Glamored, yeah.
dominated or whatever by
Sure.
a god, you just accept it. The man literally getting sucked inside this woman. He just goes,
Well, it's,
Yeah.
it's all feels pleasurable, right? And that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of vampire lore does as well, where it's not just that they're being seduced by them. It's like the actual act of biting, or in
It
this
feels
case,
so
what's happening
good.
with the god is
Yeah.
good, and so people actually want it and crave it. The way that something that's bad for you but feels really good is,
Yeah.
which is a lot of things.
Man,
And most
Salim was
great
tricked.
things are probably dangerous or bad.
man, that's so
Pretty good.
sad.
there you go. Okay, yeah, the Salim. The lucky coin with Mad Sweeney.
Poor Matt Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
That was,
And I didn't feel bad for him. He was a dick.
he was a bit of a dick, but he,
you know.
He's a little
Yeah.
pixie.
he's like, whoop, there you go. No.
Yep.
Oh God.
Oh,
Yep.
you know, I guess that's what happens when you get smashed and you're like, here, take a coin, and then you give your lucky
Yeah.
coin away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end for him.
That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah, not even the beginning of the end. Why was he talking when he was dead? What was that about? Like he was dead. He was able
Well,
to communicate.
I don't know, Maude. He was like a god or something, right? He's a character who knew he was going to die and told Shadow to be like, hey, when I'm dead, we're going to have, like, throw me a party, basically,
It
is
felt
what he
like
said.
a Viking funeral,
Yes.
or you love
But it may have been the powers.
Dionysus, right?
Yeah.
You know, it felt like something like that.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of I mean, clearly we all do. I think in a lot of cultures too, death is not seen as the end, and it's seen as sometimes a funeral can be a celebration of life.
Can we get real for a sec?
Let's do it.
Are you guys afraid of dying? Are
Oh,
you
Oh,
afraid-
we talked about this before. Remember I
super
said that I
afraid.
think about it all the time?
Yeah.
And I freaked
that's
Rachel
part
out?
of what keeps me. We were talking about not sleeping.
I'm so sorry.
part of
It's
it.
because I
I'm
said
less
that thing that
afraid.
freaked you out, right? Remember what I said?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to repeat
That's
it.
okay.
I think I'm getting less afraid.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, somebody once told me, a friend of mine once told me, death cannot be the worst thing that happens to you because it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's comforting. That's oddly comforting, knowing that
I think it's because
It's oblivion that I'm afraid of.
you're
Well,
not going to know anymore.
that's what I don't like.
Sure.
I don't like the idea of not existing and not
Sure.
this being gone. It's oblivion. It's not. If I believed in something after, then I think
been
it would be
thinking
more
about- I've been
comforting.
thinking
Tell me I
about
wasn't
that.
flamingo in my last life. Tell me I wasn't a
You were
flamingo.
absolutely a flamingo.
Yeah, I was totally a flamingo in my last life.
No.
A fancy
100%.
pink flamingo.
100%.
You think
Maybe like
so?
a flamingo goddess. I do feel like
I feel like you deserve better.
there is a past life
Flamingo?
thing in here.
There's a past life thing in there?
I feel like there's
Shadow was somebody.
Yeah,
Shadow was
to
something.
me feels like this feels like Shadow's myth story. You know what I mean? This is his
But we're
origin.
kept in the dark so much. Oh, we're kept in the dark of shadow! Ah!
Okay, all right. Time for some wine.
But I feel like we're getting there a little bit where even Laura Moon is saying you don't live
Laura
life
Moon should have been a werewolf.
where you don't live life to the fullest, and I don't feel like you're truly living or
Alive.
experiencing.
Yeah.
You're just being
So
carried
mean.
along by
He
the
is
tide.
just existing.
Well, he's numb. He says that it feels like he's been numb his whole life, and this is, even Wednesday's like, why are you going along with this?
Yeah.
Why don't you ask any questions? What the fuck?
And it is frustrating. Like as a reader,
It's really
I'm so
frustrating.
glad that he was voicing my inner thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, because he's just so many ridiculous scenarios are happening that it's just okay. This, you know, all right, this is what's happening. This is what's going down.
Yeah.
Why did he have a growth spurt?
I mean,
Why was
that's
he a
just
little
what
boy
happens.
and
That's
then he
just
was
what
just
happens.
like, it seemed kind of godly.
We didn't see. That's true. We don't know who his father is, right?
No, never mentioned.
We know about his mother a little bit.
And we have heard Wednesday talking about dalliances that the gods have had, and then sometimes it happens, but by then they're already gone.
I absolutely think he's some sort of like Native
Demigod.
American demigod or
100%.
something. Yeah.
Well, and in every mythology, gods have children with the mortals, and they have. You look at Achilles and different folks. You know, those are all sort of half their demigods.
Yes.
So
In Marvel Comics, Loki has been hooking up with Earth women for as long as he's been in existence. Loki would in
He
Marvel
hasn't
Comics.
been doing it on the low key.
And also in Marvel Comics, and I don't know if they're going to do this in the movie, Hela is technically his daughter. So
Oh,
it would
what?
be rad if Kate Blanchett was his daughter.
That's hella cool.
Yep, it is. It's hella cool.
But what's
Yeah.
one L, I've noticed.
Yes.
Got that wrong, didn't I, when I tweeted about it? Thank you for not correcting me. Or
Because
not.
technically you were making a very, very clever joke, is what you said. Because Hela with 2 L's is a word. It's Hela. So you were just like, wow, this trailer looks hella cool. And people were like, haha, I see what you did there. You could have done it with 1 L, but you're fine.
My God, you are my lifeline.
I got your back, Maude.
And, well, yes, you do.
Yep.
Cool.
Java Book Geek Girl pointed out a quote that I actually highlighted too in chapter 13, where Atsula says, "It is from our hearts, gods come, into our hearts they shall return." Maybe Sweeney could talk because he was still in a way in Shadow's heart, and I feel
Absolutely.
like that also to me feels like it's saying that the belief is more important than the gods, and the power actually lies in the people and the belief,
I believe
and
it.
not in the gods.
I
And
think
we're
that's
seeing
true.
them building towards this war that I don't know, that I feel like
They're gonna lose. I think they're gonna lose. I think there's no way you can compete with media. I've been mulling this over for the past week of if there were old gods and they were real and they were stuck in the United States and they were trying to gain followers back, but like we were saying, they'd have to do it in the old ways because if Odin went on television, he's media now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
you couldn't reach a large audience. You couldn't convince the cynical world today where if Jesus Christ existed and was the Son of God and God hasn't spoken to anybody, there's no proof, there's no all of these different things in the world we live in, what we know about science, and they're trying to do this in the old ways, they're gonna lose, they're gonna die. I think that's what we're building up towards. And you've read this book and you got a smile on your face like you know stuff.
Yeah, stop that.
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah, stop
stopped.
smiling.
But you know, media is not asking to be worshipped. It's just happening, and you can't compete with something that it's an effortless kind of like worship going on.
Yeah, that's the difference between Blockbuster and Netflix. Sorry, Blockbuster.
Yeah, you got to
Although
Can't compete.
evolve.
there is a Blockbuster reference in here that I found
Yes.
really funny. That was like, oh, there's an
Yeah, it
there's
made
a
me
god
sad.
that I loved Blockbuster.
Yeah, me too. I work there.
Who would be your god that you
Really?
worship in this day and age?
Shit.
I think I lost the numbers about this one. I
Yeah.
would worship the bed.
The bed.
The
The
god
god,
of
the goddess of the
naps.
bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sushi right now.
Man, sushi.
Yeah, yes.
I like that.
Serious problem.
What would the god of sushi look like? Oh, that egg yolk. It's like, meh.
Gudetama?
Probably.
I love Gudetama.
Or just like Dr. Zoidberg, like that's the god of sushi. Like, oh, have another piece. Why not? Why not both?
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what my
I want
my
the
god
new
would
gods
be right
now.
now. Yeah,
more than
right.
anything.
That's why they're gonna win.
I know what my god is. The cinema. That's my church. So the god of film, the god of
Film.
going to a theater and film.
I would say storytelling is another one because I like.
But they were telling stories back there. That's not a new thing.
But that this isn't. I mean, books compared to TV or video games or VR.
Old.
It's old, but it's the same. That's how you evolve, possibly, right?
Touche, touche.
Through the medium.
It's not just handed down through generations with the spoken word, as it were.
Last week we left off in Lakeside, and Hector, you were saying that you thought it was really.
I love
idyllic.
Lakeside.
Yeah, but do you still feel the same way now that they're
Boring.
missing
It's like 7
missing
people.
children?
No, something's going on.
Yeah.
There's some
It's a
shady
sacrifice.
stuff going on.
It's
There's
sacrifice.
sacrifices?
Yes, it's a sacrifice for sure.
I'm so mad at Wednesday, but I love Wednesday. And I feel like if I were getting roped along with Wednesday and he were to keep telling me, don't worry about it, just do what I say, don't worry about it. But then also, how he's questioning Shadow, going, why aren't you asking more questions? I would tell Wednesday, look, man, if you're in the right, just be straight with me, and I will be on your side, and I will see your point of view. You know what I mean? Like, I would tell him what's going on with Lakeside. Tell me what exactly your plan is. Who are these people? Tell me if I believe that you're Odin, and it seems like Shadow believes it, and I would believe it because it would be Ian McShane talking to me with one eye, and I'm like, you're Odin. Okay, I believe it.
Once you're post House on the Rock and you see all of
exactly.
that,
Then it's like, okay, then I'm in. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Tell me everything. Lay everything out for me. I'm not going to, like, I'll see your side. And if I think there's something that's bullshit, frankly, I'll tell you it's bullshit, but then you'll go, I've been alive for thousands and thousands of years. Here's why you're wrong. You've been alive for 30. You know what I mean? Like, here's why you're wrong. And I'd be like...
22 for some of us.
Right, 22,
Right.
sorry. No, you're not.
19?
You're 20.
19?
You just turned 22. That's right.
I could be 23.
That's right, yeah. I mean, don't push it. You're 22. Come on. Who are you kidding? You look
Stop trying to grow up, Maude.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
enjoy your youth while you have it. Trust me, us 29-year-olds, it's
wasted on
it's
the
wasted
young.
on the youth. Enjoy it.
But the thing about gods, and especially a lot of the gods we're meeting in this book, is that they're liars.
Yes.
They're manipulators. There are so many trickster gods that we meet in this. I wrote some
Frustrating.
notes down.
Ooh, here we go.
I know, because
You
I
got
like
some
to.
notes.
I researched some of the
Gods?
the gods that
Yeah, I
were
looked
in
up
here.
a few. This is the first time I've actually done
It's
it.
really fun. So Whiskey Jack is a Native American trickster god.
Cool.
John Chapman, obviously Johnny Appleseed.
Love that
which
part.
is really fun.
Tell me more about him.
Johnny Appleseed? Oh, because you don't have that background. See, Johnny Appleseed is a mythic, like Paul Bunyan, or but Paul Bunyan doesn't exist, right? But he's a mythic American folklore hero. There's also John Henry with the hammer, who was able to beat a locomotive with hammering.
Paul Bunyan
But he's
the
not
one with the
actually
blue
real.
ox?
What's that?
Is Paul Bunyan the one with the blue ox?
I think so.
Yeah, so they're based on real
correct.
people who did, they're like, they're folklore, so they're based on maybe someone who did something, but through oral history, they sort of grew to larger than life.
Even Paul
histories.
Revere, who rode on horse in like Boston, claiming the British are coming, like didn't really go as far as people say. Like people say, oh, Paul Revere rode for night and day, warning all of the American colonies that the British were coming. So it just, expounds into this myth and legend. But Johnny Appleseed was a character who, when you grow up in the United States, when you grow up in America, there are Disney cartoons about him. There might be movies that you see in school.
Like Ichabod, they're part of the same
Yes.
era that they did for Sleepy Hollow with
Correct.
Ichabod Crane.
Correct.
That
There
was
is
all
a
in the
Disney
same
short film. That's right.
VHS
That's right. And they
collection.
might even show it in school. And it's this
Yeah.
myth about a guy who, when the United States was first being colonized, went across the continental U.S. and planted fields of apple trees. And because he loved apples so much, and pies would be made, and trees would be grown.
This is like
and-
your revered kind of like folk god for
Yes.
America.
Yeah,
Hey, yeah,
one of them.
guys. Do you
One
know
of
what
them.
we've got for the indigenous of Australia? Oh, it's my favorite. Tiddalik. Tiddalik is a giant toad, a giant frog.
Is it the kind you're afraid of?
Yes.
Oh.
And drank all the water. And so no one else could drink, and everyone was starving
I
and
like where this is
dehydrated,
going.
and they were
Yeah.
like, oh, all the animals were parched, and everyone was dying, all the trees and brush were dying. And they're like, what are we doing? This giant frog has just drunk all the water. And so someone thought, what a great idea, we'll tickle him. And so he starts laughing, and all the water comes back out. That's so much better than bloody apple trees. Not hating.
No,
love
that's
your
awful.
country,
That's
don't
a
kick me out.
terrible. That's a terrible myth. That's so dumb. What? That's so dumb. Johnny Appleseed is dope. Johnny Appleseed is a hero.
Tiddalik could eat Johnny Appleseed.
It's not about who would win. It's the point of your story was
There's a new war going on. And it's between
it's right here between the United States and Australia. The point of your story was it's kind of like
Some
that's
bad
similar
people try to be greedy, but there's a way around it.
by making them laugh. It's the same as the mouse with the lion and the thorn in his paw. I feel like it's a similar
Yes,
thing of like
yes.
try a different approach. Johnny Appleseed, I don't think that there's a lesson.
That's
There's not a moral lesson in it.
No, that's my
He's just
problem.
this mythic character
the
who
American dream.
it's the American dream.
And then he cuts down the apple
No,
trees
that's
to
George
make the
Washington.
picket fences.
Nope.
That's everyone's American dream.
I would say also our other mythic heroes are like the good presidents, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington.
Totally. Super.
You know,
I mean,
where
I wonder. I don't
they're
think
never
got-
considered
Look at the
racist. They're
monuments.
never
That's gotta
considered
be a-
exactly. Teddy Roosevelt.
That's got to be
We have the
one of
Tasmanian
those powerful places.
Yeah, we also have the Tasmanian Devil, but we created like the more popular Tasmanian Devil, the animated Tasmanian Devil. Yeah, he had his own show in the 90s. That's America, baby.
Lost the numbers. I don't want to tickle a frog.
And you
don't
guys
blame you.
also have Crocodile Dundee, mythic hero.
He's racist and misogynistic.
I'm sorry, that's
So
too
are
bad.
a lot of American heroes.
It's true. A lot of our, I mean, so is probably
So
all
are the
of our.
80s, let's be honest.
So
are the
of
80s.
our 80s heroes, John
Yeah.
McClane, you know,
Yeah.
the Commando, Arnold and Predator, whatever, all those types of characters. But
But I like that with Whiskey Jack and what's his
Sorry,
name?
T-Boyce just really filled me in. Speaking of Johnny Appleseed, I love how he was drinking hard cider.
Yeah.
That went over my head.
Oh yeah, and it's fun because it's almost like two sides of an American folklore history with the Native American history and then the sort of like, you know, wagon, like stagecoach wagon type going west. Deadwood style. Speaking of
Ian McShane, yeah. No,
it's a little bit like, oh, it's good that they're friends because one side wiped out the other side. Like, oh, it's cool that these mythic characters are like, they're buddy. So
They've got this sort of peaceful thing. And then I also really liked Thunderbirds in the Winnebago tradition says that a man who has visions of them will become a war chief, and also that they're like part of Native American beliefs of the Star People, which we also get into this where Sam is debating with Shadow about whether or not aliens or gods seem more realistic. And I really, this is sort of off topic, but not really. I love the idea, and it's all not real, but the idea of Atlantis, and I've probably talked about this.
You're obsessed.
And
I didn't know this is where you're going. Okay,
and
great.
pyramids and sort of the idea that they could be gods, they could be aliens, they could be something that we don't understand, but I like that idea that they're all the same thing, just like myths are us answering the same questions in different areas of the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I liked that idea of like the Thunderbirds being part of the like upper world, and why is he dreaming of them, and why do they keep bringing up people who have come from before, and if is that the same as gods? Is that
love it.
different? Like I just found that really
I
interesting.
love that, tying it into aliens, those documentaries on like History Channel about like sleep paralysis back in the day, hundreds of years ago, people
ever
used to
had sleep
describe,
paralysis?
I don't think I have.
You would know.
People would describe sleep paralysis as like a demon is sitting on my chest or a witch is sitting on my chest. And then in the 50s, the 60s, so on, people started describing sleep paralysis as an alien froze me with a beam. Like, it's just whatever pop culture, whatever is sort of in your culture is influencing your night terrors, your sleep paralysis, your dreams, your nightmares, I think is absolutely true.
I had sleep paralysis once. I was, this is when I learned that I should not ever take codeine for pain. I had like a kidney infection and had to be on bed rest. It was really bad when I was younger. And didn't realize that I couldn't take codeine and had sleep paralysis and saw, is it Haunted, the Pokemon that looks like a spiky purple ghost?
Yes.
Haunter.
Haunter.
Yes. Evolution of Ghastly and
Yes.
no, you're thinking of Gengar.
Gengar.
It went Ghastly, then Haunter, then Gengar. Gengar is the final evolution,
The
the one
really
with legs.
spiky one.
Yeah, he's more of like a full form instead of being, yes.
Haunter
Wow.
doesn't have legs, he just floats.
I
Gas
think
is
it
like
might
a
have been
Pokeball.
Haunter?
I'll
Okay.
have to look it up, but it started in the doorway and came over above me, and I couldn't move. It was the only time I've ever had it, and I was like, never doing that again.
What
It was
attack did it use
hor-
on you? Did it use lick? What
It
attack
just
did it use?
Super
looked at
effective.
me. It was just above me, and I thought it was like,
Thank you.
it was horrifying.
I'm so sorry.
You're like,
But I can
Pikachu,
imagine
choose
thinking
you.
that it's a demon,
Yep.
thinking any of those things because, and
Did
I
you
have a friend who gets them a lot.
Did you play Pokemon? Did you play the video game? Or did you watch
I played Pokemon Blue.
So you're playing Pokemon Blue, you turned it off, you saved, turned it off, went to sleep.
No, this
and
was
then,
like 10 years after.
Okay.
I was like 19. I wasn't a kid. I was like
Okay.
in college.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's just whatever's influencing your stuff. Anywho. Okay, so then we met the character of Easter, and I could not
Yes.
help but picture Kristen Chenoweth in the
She's
role.
going to be so
Even though
great.
the
She's going to be
description
so
is
great.
A little different.
It's not Kristen Chenoweth. I love the description of Shadow said that she wasn't
Anywhere between, what, 20 and 50?
yeah, like 25 and
Very
50.
curvaceous.
Wasn't overweight, but he's like, I've never used this word curvaceous
Yeah.
to describe this woman, which I
Got
was
some
like,
Easter in her eggs, if you know what I'm saying.
I'll pound that. All right, nicely done. So that happens, and then we go to the backstage, which was really interesting. Well, just to talk about Easter for a little bit. I really liked that scene. I thought it was great. Well done.
I think that there was such a beautiful serving right here because
Yeah.
she's like, I'm fine. Once a year, everyone worships me.
And I
he's
love
like,
the follow-up Wednesday because it was also Neil Gaiman basically saying, hey, screw you to the reader, being like, you blindly
Yeah.
worship or think of the wrong thing.
Yep.
You didn't even know what Easter was.
Is he having a dig at Christianity?
What's that?
Is he having a dig at Christianity?
I think so,
Yeah.
certainly, but also the commercialization of
Yes.
Easter, which then when I was reading it, I lumped in with like Christmas and everything. Is just
Yeah.
like, we don't know what any of
At
these
least
things.
Christmas is the mass of Christ. Like, so that kind
Right.
of makes sense. Isn't
But
it?
it's also like, you know,
Well,
as you get
Easter
older,
is
you hear
he
like,
is risen.
exactly, exactly.
I did this year in
Chocolate
Easter,
eggs.
and I also
We just had it.
We just
yeah,
had
we
it.
just had
Oh,
it, and I also
God.
want to shout out last week what was really nice because
Oh,
you know
God.
it can be a really difficult thing to talk about religion.
Sure.
And one of the things that Java Book Geek Girl said last week, which was really awesome, was that we're talking about all this stuff where no matter if you believe or if you don't believe, and everyone in the chat has different perspectives and all of those things, that everything has been respectful, and I really like that because it's hard
Agreed.
to do that and have those conversations. But I went to Catholic school for 5 years. I did Ash Wednesday. I had to do all that stuff for school, and my dad's family is Catholic. I don't believe in anything, but I'm fascinated by religion. And on Easter, this year especially, reading this, I was so taken by how many people I know who I know aren't religious.
Happy
We're
Easter.
celebrating Easter and posting a lot of
Yes.
stuff, and I thought that was really. Even Target was closed.
I know.
Target was closed on Easter, but I woke up early and was like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Going to Target early in the morning is one of life's great pleasures.
That's how I got a
When no
Nintendo
one's
Switch.
there.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend and I went to go do it, and the whole thing was closed, and we were like, Easter?
Yeah, I know. My girlfriend and I wanted to go pants shopping that Sunday, and I was like, no, those places will be open. I was like, the mall will be
Yeah.
open. It's Easter. It's like a family, like, go out.
Egg hunt.
Yeah. Like, it'll be open.
ham.
And it was closed. It was crazy.
My turn for a story. My boyfriend.
Tell us about your.
What's going on here?
Oh, so sorry.
My boyfriend. My girlfriend.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay. It's so fun. It's so fun. I
We
wanted
didn't mean to talk
share,
about our lives.
but,
Sorry.
I
appreciate-
worship the God
we-
of single.
Yeah. Why are you making so much noise when you drink that wine?
I'm not sure what's happening.
Oh, boy.
That's my prayer.
But good job on you guys in the chat for having that kind of like respectful conversation. It's been fascinating. I didn't have any real religion growing up. When I was 5 years old, my mom decided that I
That's
may
right, no birthdays.
no birthdays. Did I tell you guys this already? I
Yeah.
told you
It was-
this.
oh.
It was a Jehovah's Witness for a year.
And she only selected that one part because that
Yes,
was the most
to,
convenient.
to carry through. Well, she was like, well, look, I think my kids need a religion. Let's go find she did research and found this church. So we went to the Kingdom Hall, the place where the Jehovah's Witnesses go to church. It's their church. And I only did it for a year, and then a year into it, my mom, the friends that she made, my mom was like, you know what, I think I want to start painting. By this point, I'm, as a little kid, already drawing because I'm kind of artistic a little bit.
I've seen
And
your
so
drawings, your
thank you.
street shark
Thank you so much.
reimagining.
I did do that.
Yeah.
That's my art. Great. Great. But my mom was like, I think I want to start painting to try to make some money to help the family, like the income. My dad was working and she wasn't working. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she's like, I think I want to do that. And her friends in the church were like, oh, no. You should just be a mom. Don't worry about it. And she's like, nah, this isn't going to work. So we left the church. From age 5 on to about 12, 13, 14, the one thing she decided to keep from that religion was she liked how they didn't celebrate holidays, to put those sort of things on a pedestal. And instead, holidays like Christmas time would become about, no, we're going to spend time as a family, we're going to whatever, which is a very noble thing. When you're a kid, that sucks butt. That
Yeah,
sucks
no
so hard. When you go to
presents.
school and you have
How are you
to...
gonna get moon shoes?
I never got moon shoes. I don't even know what you're talking about.
What is a moon shoe?
My
Moon
ugh.
shoes were a thing that I wanted forever.
Yeah, it's an American thing. It's based on Johnny Appleseed. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get
Lord.
it. They're
Okay.
based, it's based on Johnny
basically
Appleseed.
mini trampolines on your shoes,
Yeah.
but then I had a friend who
Yeah.
got them and they were not fun. They didn't really work.
My
Maybe
fr-
I was
my-
too tall by then.
My
so
first
really
Christmas present
hop on
was I was 12 years old, and I woke up Christmas morning, and I turned my head, and on my pillow was like an unwrapped Nintendo 64. That was my first Christmas present. And my parents were kind
That
of like,
actually makes up for all the.
no, it doesn't.
Oh.
Maude, it does
Oh my
not.
God,
Nope.
Nintendo!
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because I didn't even have birthdays, but I would be invited to my friends' birthdays, and I would get them a gift and wrap it and bring it to them.
Oh,
But I
that's
never
fun.
had the one day a year where it's like, all my friends are coming over, and they're each bringing a
my
thing. Like, I never had that. Anyway, the point is,
You're in
I forgot what
therapy
my
now.
point was. I'm in therapy now. Oh, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with it.
Everyone should be in therapy.
But when I was in college, my friends got wind of this that I never celebrated holidays, so they did a holiday party in one night and had me dress up like a ghost for Halloween. They gave me turkey dinner and started fighting with each other.
That's the cutest thing I've ever heard.
I had like a Heineken, and it was like St. Patrick's Day, but for Easter, my Catholic friend Marina, she basically did Easter Mass for me in 5 minutes, and it was like, oh, okay, I get it. All right, great. It was great. It was fantastic.
You've got great friends.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Had great friends. Now I just have you guys. Even greater friends.
Okay.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Woo! Up in the chat, Mastera, which I saw on Twitter, made Laura's chili too, which I'm gonna try the recipe because I've been wanting chili.
Ooh, that did sound good.
I don't like Laura.
No, she is the effing worst.
Oh, she's just awful.
Okay,
You
make
got the
some
best-
gifs. Do some stuff with your face to make some gifs about it.
Laura.
You hate
I've already
Laura.
done shade. I've already done shade. Oh, quick. Oh, the pressure's
You hate her.
There you go. How was that?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I hope
Oh
you
my god, I
tried
saw
that.
Andy
Thank you.
Samberg last night and I was like, I didn't want to tell him that I have a gif of me doing his face. But I didn't. I just name dropped it instead, and I feel
When I
bad
saw
about
Andy
it now.
Samberg at a party, then I came in my pants. Jizzed in my pants. When Bruce Willis was dead at the end of Sixth Sense, that's so great.
Anyway,
He's the
Laura,
best.
for me, he just seems so forgiving, and he's helping her more than she's helping him. She got him out of a sticky situation, sure. It just does not make sense to me. This is the blaringly obvious thing that, like, out of all the things that shouldn't make sense, him appreciating her, missing her, and wanting to stick by his word when it is a helpless and hopeless situation.
Right.
When it would be easier to just be like, doink, here's the coin, back in the ground. It is what it is. If you didn't earn my best mate's
My buddy, played by Dane Cook. I know.
then if you didn't cook the cook, then
No,
we'll be
that was a bit of a
alive.
stretch, Maude.
Too
That
many
was
chefs,
I can't
too
save
many
you from
cooks.
that one. That's good. You got it back. You got it back. Nicely done. You got it back.
Too many cooks. Anyway, that for me, I'm not about it.
Counterpoint.
Okay, yes.
Love makes you so dumb. Like
Yeah.
so dumb. So dumb.
Enough said.
You do the dumbest
Enough
shit
said.
when you're in love.
She's
And
rotting.
Counterpoint. I don't think she's going to. I've never read American Gods. I don't think he's going to still love her by the end of the story, because in this section, especially in this section that we read this week, he has these thoughts that I'm like, you must have been having these since the moment that you heard that she cheated on you. Where he's like, every time I think about her, it just goes to the thought of her having sex with this guy and then them crashing.
But why
and I'm
is-
like,
why
there
can
you
he-
go, Shadow. That was my favorite
He's
Shadow
opening
Laura
up.
moment.
He's
It is.
waking up.
It is.
But why can you think about it? Because she's telling him the details.
Sure.
Nonchalantly in conversation.
Listen.
Oh, by the
dead.
way.
I feel like she's dead. She doesn't even
I know.
feel
Yeah,
anymore.
so she's
And
turned
also-
her emotions off. That's a Vampire Diaries.
Let me tell you another thing. Even if she didn't die, but she still had an affair, but then found out, I feel like Laura's the type of character, the way that she's written, that she would still be honest with Shadow. If he came out of prison and she never died, the way that she describes those sort of the
Yeah.
graphic detail, I still feel like she's the type of character, the way she's written, that she would still say all that stuff, and they would still be together and be married, and she would be like, this is why, and I'm sorry, but I love you, and you're a puppy, and all these different things.
I don't know if I think that if this hadn't happened,
You think she would have
she
kept
was
it if she
planning
didn't
a
die?
surprise party for him. You think that he's gonna get out and then she's gonna tell him?
No, but I'm saying if he found out. Because remember, he confronted her about it. Even when
I
she
don't
was
think
dead,
he
she didn't
would.
tell him.
I think that this is the thing that woke him up. That is what started him waking up. I think if that had never happened, he would.
Sure.
I don't know that Wednesday would have come for him. I don't think that. I feel like all of that
For sure.
is part of it.
Yeah.
It's all. I feel like it's all connected. That he wouldn't have gone with him if she hadn't died. He had a life there.
Oh, absolutely.
So that is like the
Yeah,
the
she had to die
domino
for him to.
Yeah, for any of this to happen.
I think that by the end of the story, he's going to say goodbye to her, and he's going to take the coin back, and he's going to not be like, no, I'm not going to bring you back to life. Like, I need to say goodbye. You're dead. You need to stay dead. I accidentally gave you the supernatural ability to come back to life and walk around as a corpse.
But it's such a half-fulfilled thing, and it can only ever be like half-fulfilled. She
Even
can
if she
never
was
actually
alive?
Be alive.
Oh,
She
for
can
sure.
never actually be. In the comments at the moment, people are saying, does she have to freely give the coin back, or can it be taken from her? Because I think that putting it around a necklace is a very possessive move, and it's kind of keeping it close to her dead, cold, unbeating heart. So I'm not sure about that one as well. But T-Boy's getting a lot of love quoting Dumbledore. Love is the most terrible and the most wonderful thing in the world.
And I love too that people in the chat are hoping that he ends up with Bast, his kitty cat lover from.
Oh yeah.
That was some hot time.
That was really,
know.
that was very hot times. That was very hot times. Speaking of that scene in Cairo,
Wow.
I think that maybe Mad Sweeney came back because Ibis has the power to, because we're dealing with
tell
the
stories.
an Anubis or whoever the characters were, to bring. I mean, they're like the gods of death and stuff. So I think that it might not have just been in the heart of Shadow, but I think it's also Mr. Ibis. Like as they're
true.
partying and drinking, like, oh, come back to life real quick, and then we'll send you off. So
And it's celebrate. I feel like he's always writing these stories as well. So
yeah, that's true.
it's part of like telling his final tale as well and saying goodbye.
So much happened in this section, you guys. It was like a lot to unpack. The
Yeah.
scene about the slave twins, the slave girl that comes
Love
back.
that one.
It was brutal. It
Her
was
arm
brutal.
died when her twin got his arm
Like,
removed.
let me tell you something. As an American, the older that you get, the more you realize
You should have been a
how-
twin. Yeah.
My mom was a twin. Her twin died in the womb, which is weird. Anyway, that was a weird tangent. That the history of the United States is not Johnny Appleseed,
It's
but it is
horrible.
horrifying, and
up
there's
until
absolutely
like it's forever.
up until today, up
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
what we're talking about
It's
right now.
not
The-
actually good.
most of
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a positive thing.
No.
The more you learn about the founding fathers and founding America and people coming from Europe to escape persecution, and you're like, no, the way that these people took advantage of other people, the horrors of slavery, the horrors of like wiping out Native Americans.
Australia did that as well, to be fair.
Of course, the world. Thank you. In the 50s, like it's bad, but
LA in 1994, like
everything. I mean,
remember
you can,
them vividly.
You can
yeah.
get into it, and this is also the history of the world. This is the history of men around the world deciding to kill and rape and take advantage of other people just for
enslave,
whatever. And reading this, I'm going to be honest with you guys, this book is a bummer for me to read. It's a bummer for me to read because I feel like Neil Gaiman is trying to figure out what is America. He describes that in the intro, and he's saying that people would write to him and go, "Well, America is its history. No, America is its people. America is its landmarks and its like funny little like roadside attractions. America is slavery and that history. America is the dream. America is Native Americans. America is immigrants. America is all these different things at once." But reading this book, it's slow for me, even though I feel like we're reading similar page counts to books we've read in the past. It is slow for me to read.
Is that right?
Yes, I have to be in a certain mood. You might be flying through it. I'm having a tough time with this. I'm having a tough time with it.
I'm like a thunderbird.
Times I find boring as well as I'm reading the book.
Which parts?
Moments where things feel like they're not happening. Moments where Shadow is back at Lakeside waiting. Sort of a thing. You know what I
That
mean?
feels like a lot of other books that I've read.
A lot of other books. But then other moments, it feels like I'm flying through it when things feel like they're happening, when Wednesday's describing things, when we're moving to locations, when we're having scenes with characters that I really enjoy. When Shadow got caught in Lakeside for not being Shadow, or for being Shadow, but not being Mike Ainsel. Ainsel, I don't know, whatever. Then it started to move for me. But other sections, and especially that chapter with the coming to America, with the slave twin characters, it was rough for me to get through. And I feel like it's all kind of, for me in the past couple of years, coming together of this thing of like, yep, what I know about the foundations of this country isn't entirely correct. What I know about the history of the world isn't entirely, it's all bad stuff.
It's
It was just
Columbus.
rough.
It starts with the Norse gods coming over here and them saying like, "Columbus, are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Yep.
And
which was
that's
great.
sort of the key like American history when you're in elementary school. That is a total lie. But I think
In
too,
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and that's when America was discovered.
which is not true, but it's people
It's like
were
17
people have
something
been
for
living here forever.
Australia.
But
Yeah.
what I like about that section is not just that it shows sort of this connection and the resilience of love and belief and connection,
True.
but also that when you're looking at something as horrifying and like mind-boggling as slavery or the Holocaust or these horrible, just you can't even wrap your brain around it, but a lot of individual stories get lost
Absolutely.
in the weight
That's true.
of those stories.
And
And so I
Gaiman talks
like
about
that
that.
they're
Yeah.
giving you
That was great.
these perspectives. These were real people, and there were so many of them, and they all had a different story, but they get lumped together because we don't know how to handle.
He says, Thousands may
that
die.
people did
Hundred
this.
thousands may die. Millions may. Those are just numbers. You
Yeah,
know?
when
Those
you
are all
can,
people.
skip a few million and not matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
It's
you're
crazy.
thinking of the actual numbers.
So-
it's so funny because like the way you're reading this is
Yeah.
completely opposite to the way I'm reading this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have told you why until you just said that. And I feel like I am reading a series of individual stories.
True.
And I love
Totally.
the stories instead of taking a step back and seeing the whole picture.
Yeah.
And the whole picture is bleak.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm learning so much from these stories. Except maybe I'm not even realizing what I'm reading because it's going over my head from time to time.
Sure. Me too,
And I'm just
yeah.
like, this is just fun.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
what? Apple seed cider? Oh, great.
This is a book that rewards. I mean, I'm picking up on
Yes.
stuff that this is like my third time, and there's all this stuff that I haven't read before. But I do think that's part of it too, and that's getting thematic again. You know, when you're feeling down about the state of the world, when you're feeling like the weight is too much, or like what we're doing for our lives is frivolous, all of those things that we've been dealing with the whole time on the show, basically, since we started in October, it's
Yeah.
been a like very important time. And I think that the thing
6
that's wow, really?
Yeah,
Shoot.
it's been 6 months.
Under 100 days? I don't know.
But I think that the thing that you can almost cling to, if you're afraid of death, if you're sad, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the state of the world and all of
If
these
you're
things,
the Allura or the Theodora. What is it?
yeah,
What's her name?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Thought about that the other day.
That your life and these individual stories are so much more to you and are what you're going to experience than the whole of it. And so I think trying to make that story the best or learn from that story, either yourself or the ones that you're listening to, and listening to other people and learning from them and learning from,
Totally.
especially in a book like this where it is about different cultures and different people coming together, and Shadow is learning all of them. I think that's opening him up. I think that's making him a better person. And that's like from reading to individual stories to your own life, that's
And
kind of what
applying
you
it to
have
your
to
life.
do, is like opening up and opening yourself, even though the weight of the world is crushing.
Absolutely.
It's crushing for everyone, but you can
Absolutely.
find those connections. You can have friends that throw you the greatest birthday of all the holidays that you've ever needed. What a magical thing is that?
cute.
Yeah, that was great.
And that's an individual story in a world where probably when that was happening, horrible things were happening.
Well
but
said,
you can
Rachel.
make that better.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
reckon.
Well said.
I'm going to go on a mad tangent just
Do
so
it.
you can process that. And I'm going to say something really stupid. Since I started reading this book and since we learnt about the Hammerman, I randomly and spontaneously...
Sorry, Hammerman?
Yeah.
What's the
Chernobog?
Hammerman?
Yeah. It just
got
goes in
it.
my head all the time. So I'll just be doing nothing and I'm like, Chernobog.
Oh, the Hammerman.
It's been happening for weeks. now.
Chernobog.
Yep. I'm just like,
Chernobog.
Chernobog.
Doesn't matter the clothes you wear or the ice around my neck.
Chernobog. But like,
matters.
I'm just going about my business, making some breakfast, Chernobog. Just that's all that happens.
You know what's really cool? This is
That's how
another
my
thing
mind
that
That's
I
great.
found.
Hold on to
So
that. Don't let that go.
It's a fun when he stops to when they're on their way to the center
Yes,
and he
has
gets the power.
Oh my gosh! And he comes back and his hair is a bit darker. This
Love
is
it.
when
Younger.
you realize the stakes here, because if he worships something, a blood sacrifice that happened centuries ago, and it's still feeding him life. Imagine what media is getting when it's like direct, constant.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Like,
No
oh my gosh,
contest.
she don't
No
need
contest.
no Botox. You know, like she's just new and fresh and renewed.
Well, apparently I looked up
Chernobog.
that, and apparently in that spot there was a family of serial killers called the Bloody Benders, and that's the stretch of road where they would kill travelers, and that's what he's pulling it from. Is that crazy?
Family?
Yeah.
Oh my
In the
God.
sev-
So
like in
is
the
that the
70s.
thing that inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie?
Possibly, yeah. And
It might have
all of
been.
those, yeah.
And because that's when hitchhiking became a bad thing.
Yeah.
Was after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the United States. Everybody, I think, up to that point was like, "Oh, hitchhiking's like a legit way to travel." Like,
Have you guys
no
seen
worries.
In Mad Men, they hitchhike all
yet.
the time.
No, have you seen the
We
original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I would never.
Horrifying.
But we had not proud of this, but
Actually,
we
not
had
that
a
bad, but
backpacking
like-
murderer.
No, it's horrifying.
Did you really in Australia?
Yeah, they would he would kill foreigners. He would lure them in, and they like
so
the car
sad.
would break down, and he's like, "Yeah, come over here,
Yeah.
Wolf
Well,
Creek, man."
Well, it's interesting because
what that movie's
everyone is
about.
drawing from different things, right? His is from blood. His is from death.
Yes.
And same thing with Anubis, and those are, and so
Organs.
we've got, and Bilquis with sex, and also R.I.P. Bilquis.
R.I.P. Bilquis.
Damn, that
So
was
sad.
awful.
Brutal.
And also,
She got fucked by a car.
Salim. Oh,
Come on,
no.
Maude. Come on.
Oh no.
Come on. Don't do that.
That's fucked up.
Don't do that.
That's fucked up.
Don't say that. You know better than that. You know
So
better.
sad.
No, we don't say
Also,
that.
did you pick up that Salim?
We don't say
Salim
that
died
stuff.
too.
You're making yourself cry, really? Wasn't that clever? Come on.
Did you pick up that Salim is dead too?
Oh. How?
In the section. This is what I
Damn
picked
it.
up.
How
I'm
is
sorry.
Salim dead? Is Salim
the interlude on 3/28. The war had begun and nobody saw it. The storm was lowering and nobody knew it. War on drugs, war on poverty, whatever. A falling girder in Manhattan closed a street for 2 days. It killed 2 pedestrians, an Arabic taxi driver, and the taxi driver's passenger.
But no one else was harmed, wasn't it? Yeah, no, I did pick
So
up
they
on
Oh,
that.
list
that
a
makes
bunch
sense
of
because these are all
people.
accidents, but they're actually
Terry
killing.
the Troll, different
gods.
things.
Wow.
And I thought maybe it was a trucker in Denver. The murder instrument, a rubber-gripped, claw-headed hammer.
Yeah.
So I thought that the trucker was maybe a more new god that Chernobog had killed, but Salim's gone. That was what I read.
Can we also,
That's
I
great.
love how they do these little glimpses as well. Did you guys pick up on Medusa?
No.
where?
Was the Medusa glimpse? Man,
think
there's all
it
these Easter
was-
eggs I missed.
I loved that one. I was like, I got it. This is when he was going all around and he went into a dark room where there were bones of mice, and like you couldn't see the person. It was Medusa, man, because she had to constantly stay in the shadows so that she wouldn't turn him to stone. But all the snakes had to feed on the mice, and so it was littered with mice bones.
so
I picked up on
cool.
that one,
That's
and I was like,
awesome.
this is the new Ready Player One when you get the reference and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
No.
But now I got this one. I wish I'd kept the page, but I've been reading on planes. But yeah, I loved that one. Did anyone else get it in the chat?
Wait, what
Oh, I
part was that?
love-
When they went into a dark room? Was that the same section that
It
Rich
was like
talking
another
about?
one of those things where it's
Yeah,
like boom,
it was the
boom, boom,
interlude,
boom.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And in one of them it was a dark room.
Can we scroll up to a comment from a guy or girl whose screen name features Odin in it? Because they said a really cool and interesting thing right there. Thrash Odin. Maybe this is all real, and all these guys are being rejuvenated from us
Sweet.
reading this book.
Oh, also, Buck, 0001, I love that the internet totally killed sex.
Oh.
Isn't that great? I mean, because it's Technical Boy.
God damn it,
my
Neil Gaiman.
The internet killed
Neil
sex.
Gaiman.
I know. Also,
Well
I
done.
love that
Well
Technical
done.
Boy doesn't ever want to be alone.
Oh, he's a whiny little
He's
bitch.
I know, but
isn't
well, dude, the internet. But also, he wants to constantly be connected. He's like, I'm bored in my room. I don't want to do it. Like,
What was
he's
happening?
his
Was
enemy.
he dying without a
to be
connection and slamming his head into the wall in the
That's what
hotel room, going
that's what I
crazy?
thought, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
was
picked
probably
up on
like,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Trying
we
to-
have to
Forgetting
talk
my joke.
about Mr. Wednesday.
Yes. Got sniped, y'all.
He's dead.
Died.
Okay, so I have a point to make about this. This is one of the first times where a
Odin sleep.
major character dies off screen. So
But it
he's-
wasn't off screen.
in
It
a
was
way
being
he was,
filmed.
but he,
was
you were seeing it,
on
but it
screen.
wasn't from his point of view, or he wasn't in
I see,
the
I see.
vicinity.
Sure.
You know, like usually
And
you
also
hype
media,
up a
what
death.
a bitch showing him that while
Yeah.
he's locked up. That was so sad.
Yeah.
That's
Just
media.
having to watch that.
That's media.
But I was
I
also,
know, the
I for
news.
ages didn't think that it was true. I was like, she's manipulating this. She can manipulate things on a screen.
Yeah.
The fact that you hadn't seen him in the flesh and it was only through the screen, I thought that she was fucking with him.
Just like
until you
Iron
saw
Man
the
3.
corpse.
Keep going.
Thank you for that reference.
You're
Sure.
welcome. It's
So-
a great reference.
You should probably laugh so hard you
Mandarin?
nearly cry.
Nope. Not there yet.
All right. But I kind of thought that it was less impacting because, you know, it wasn't that build up where it
Sure.
was there and
Sure.
you can read his like expression and they milk it out. It was just kind of like a boom, it's over. And it was only from Shadow's perspective. And I thought that that was very, very cleverly done because I haven't really seen a major character like that die in such a offhanded way. There you go.
That was great.
Yeah.
Well done. Moderator says, what are his babies? Shadow maybe has kid or kids?
How come? Why?
Did you guys pick that up?
No.
Where?
Am I crazy? There was a line that said Shadow thought about his kid. Thought about
Where?
his son or daughter or
Someone else in the chat ages back said, what's the bet that Sam's father is a Native American god as well?
Oh,
Oh
most
yeah,
definitely.
Sam is definitely
Demi.
Got a little something,
Demi.
something.
Something, yeah. But I feel like it's very strange to me. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, that it's interesting that Mr. Wednesday's death sparks the war. Because he's
Sure.
the
That's
god
what
of
he
war.
wanted to do.
Is your father?
I mean,
Is he?
war is one of his main.
There you go.
Yeah,
Odin.
he's the
Yeah.
Every
Norse
time
god
I
of
think the god of war,
war.
I think of Hercules with Ares, and he talks like this the whole time.
Oh.
That's all. It
The
goes
show
around in my head.
Hercules: The Legendary Journeys.
Yeah.
I think of Marvel Comics. There's Ares, the god of war. Also, DC Comics. There's Ares, the god of war. Same thing. Same
Yeah.
guy.
This
Kind
is
of.
the point that you were making before, where it's like there's all these things, but
Yeah.
just the same. Everyone's doing it.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's war. It's knowledge. He's one of those sort of all powerful that has a lot.
Sure.
But war is one of
Father.
them, and so this is sparking this war between them, and they go to this sort of neutral territory, and they have this like sad, super lame, kind of lame wake for him.
Yeah.
Where it's like you guys killed him. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you guys allowed to be here? And Mr. Nancy's like, that this is it, right?
It was made even shittier with like the stale McDonald's that was brought
Yeah.
in, like that Neil Gaiman went into detail about, like, oh, there's cold fries and I'm just
50
like, this is
miles out.
this is the lamest place ever. And describing the actual physical center of the continental United States, which
Yeah.
I'm sure is all real and legit, in the history of like the farmer not wanting it to
Yes.
be at his house, so it's moved up for 2 miles, and Shadow being like, well, then it's here, and it's like, no, it's the place where everybody designated it. That's where that power comes from.
Yeah.
Super shitty. I like the scene where Wednesday. Odin finally describes Thor. I'm waiting for Thor. What about his
Yeah.
son Thor? And the scene goes as follows.
Yes.
Are you drunk? Not yet. I just keep thinking about Thor. You never knew him. Big guy like you. Good-hearted. Not bright, but he'd give you the goddamn shirt off his back if you asked him. And he killed himself. He put a gun in his mouth and blew his head off in Philadelphia in 1932. What kind of a way is that for a god to die? That's real sad.
Yeah.
Real sad. 1932, come on, Thor,
Couldn't make it a little bit longer.
god of thunder. I know, he
mean,
missed
that's
all the
a
good
lot. They
stuff.
live a long
He
time.
missed Marvel Comics making him popular again and people worshiping him because Chris
Oh my
Hemsworth.
gosh,
he missed
he
it.
would have
Oh,
been.
he would be huge, and so would Loki, who
Yes.
we learn is officially Loki.
We called that,
Lyle.
didn't we? We
Mm-hmm. Well,
called
that was the chat that
Loki.
called that.
Oh, the chat.
Well done,
called
chat.
that.
Or maybe it may have been tweeted at me, but that was
Yeah.
a moment for me where I was like,
Loki
Yeah.
is
He's
Loki.
their driver and
Jumped
sort of
ship, didn't he? I think, again, in my head, I'm like, well, he's the god of trickster. Like, he's a trickster god.
Sure.
So he's infiltrating. Like I felt like he was in prison to protect
Yeah.
Shadow, completely to look after and protect him and make sure he
now-
doesn't fuck up. And he even admitted that, going, "You're in
Yeah.
a lot of trouble. If I wasn't there, you'd be like hell gone."
but now you're thinking he was messing with him? Setting things
Not at
up?
all. No.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he's undercover.
Oh.
Trickster god. I think he's.
You know, is that
'Cause he
just
is
Tom?
Odin's
Listen,
son- I mean,
he is
they
Odin's
have
son.
a complicated
But
relationship.
is that
but
just Tom Hiddleston influencing your perception of who Loki is? Because Tom Hiddleston, let me say this, me being a Marvel Comics reader, I knew Loki, the Tom Hiddleston Loki, right? And my entire life, he is a bad guy. He's Thor's brother, sure, but I was like, oh no, he's in the villain category. He's a bad guy. He's on that side of the team. He messes with people. He is the god of evil, the god of mischief. That's who he is. But then Tom Hiddleston shows up, is in this movie, and I'm like, he's so charming and likable, and when he cries the one tear when he says, it's too late, I'm like, oh, he's a broken son. He's just sad. So now I'm kind of like, he's maybe more in the middle. You know, they're having him teaming up with Thor in a movie, and now I
I'm
think
just
he's
wondering
more
what
of
would
like,
evoke. Like, if all the old gods were dissipating, is he the kind of person that just jumps to the stronger side?
it depends on whatever Gaiman thinks Loki is.
Yeah.
It depends.
And I think too that trickster gods, in general, especially in pop culture, have this sort of fun
Yeah.
charm to them too, because
Yeah.
they're playful. Like you look at Supernatural, has one of those characters, and there's a book, Coyote Blue, that's about a Native American trickster god.
Interesting.
If anyone in the chat has read that, those would be a fun series of books that are similar to this, where the gods are sort of personified. But yeah, it's. I think that they are charming, and it's not necessarily. Again, are they good or bad? Because we had this with March Badness, actually, when we were pitting different pop culture villains against each other. Are they bad because it's their nature? It's one thing if you're vying for power, that feels normal. You know, that's what gods are going to
Sure.
do. But if for March Badness, it was like the alien queen. That's her biology.
Right.
To do that.
Not
Is
as
that
evil. No.
And
That's an animal.
Loki thrives on chaos.
Yeah.
So it's possible that even just by confusing Shadow, he's
getting off on it.
getting stronger from that.
Or getting off.
Getting
off from
stronger,
that,
sure.
yeah.
if Loki was given the same spiel that media gave to Shadow, if Loki was on the receiving end of
But
that,
he took it.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That I would
Wow.
understand. If media was
Wow.
like, I will destroy you, you know, here, these are your options A, options B. And Shadow didn't even blink, he's so blindly loyal at this stage, and he doesn't even have to be. Can we quickly talk, while we've got a second, about the vigil?
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
that's
it's real
what I'm.
sad.
What is? Yeah. So basically, he has to be strung up at a tree for 9 days and 9 nights, no food and no water, and then if he survives, and the chances are super, super slim. Even though I recently did 3 crackers on 56 hours, food poisoning, Shake Shack. So I was reading it, going, I'm not hungry. And
Maude,
I
your
haven't-
tangents are the best. That was a great one.
Thank you. What do you guys think about Shadow? This is like his purpose, he was saying.
I think that he wants to live. He wants to learn. He's feeling this pressure from Wednesday, who's gone,
And
from
Laura, who said,
that
"You've never been alive."
And he's like, I feel like that is ringing true, and everything that we've seen, from the beginning, you were like, why is he doing this? He is numb. He is letting life pass him by by going with what he's a puppy. He's letting everything happen to him
lost
instead
3
of
years
creating it.
because of Laura.
And so I think that this is
Laura.
his way to learn, to live. And I also think that the parallels to Jesus are like too much on this one. The power of 3, which is it's powerful in all mythology, basically. And
I was
a
thinking
lot in
more
witchcraft, but
Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan the Barbarian and the Tree of Woe, which he gets strung up on as a crow is picking at him, and he's like, "Ah!" and then he bites into the crow and eats it, and it's badass. I know, it's so great. It's so great.
And I think he's going to. I mean, we're finishing the book next week. This is revving up. We're going to learn everything that we're going to learn in this next section, and I feel
What do you know that you're not telling us, Rachel?
Don't tell.
I'm not saying anything, but I do think that dealing, and also the dream that he had with, I feel like I've
skulls
done
and
a
the
very
mountain
good
tower?
job of not spoiling
You've actually done a
anything.
fantastic job. Well
I'm
done.
trying really hard.
Well done. Well done.
But he did have that dream where he said 3 days the tree, 3 days in the underworld, 3, and he was doing that. So I think that, he's having all these.
I don't think that's happened yet.
Rachel's too smart.
No, it happened in the book. Yeah.
100%.
It was earlier when he's going through with the Thunderbirds and stuff. He has a dream about him before he dies. But I think that it's. I just lost my shit.
I'm so sorry because I
No,
have
it's
to get
okay.
Those tangents.
clarity.
No, it's
No,
okay.
I'm
But I
so
think that that's.
What's going to happen to Shadow? What's going to happen to Shadow? What do we think is going to happen in the Black Side?
I'm not
He gives a shit.
participating.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gives a shit.
Just like Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy. We're being given a chance. A chance for what? A chance to give a shit. You're asking us to die, Peter. Going up against... You're asking us to die. Yeah, I guess I am.
How much of this movie could you do, do you think? And how long have we got?
Okay, I can do 2.5 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. Nope, I won't.
Can we scroll up? Oh, Bucky B said a great thing. Bucky B 618 said, you know what, with this whole following Odin and following Wednesday's vigil, even after death, committing to that, he goes, she said, he's a puppy to a fault. She's loyal. She said he is loyal to a fault. No more wine for Maude.
I know.
I think he's going to
killed
break
that
away
one.
from that. I think he's going to break away. I think that the point of this book, and I think that him sacrificing himself to the Tree of Woe is a huge part of that, of him living. That in the last section, he's going to be like, you know what, Laura, give me that coin back. Or, no, you're done. I'm not going to bring you back to life. And
the
we're over.
Thunderbird goes down, and then he jumps on the back and
And
sails
he kills
off.
Technical Boy.
Is it Buckbeak?
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, all right. So now it's coming to the end of the show. You know what you need to do. We've only got one chunk of the book left, and then we're all done. So we're going to finish this fucker. But I've liked it. Hector, not as much. That's fine.
Listen, it's wonderfully written. I'm saying that
love
it's
it.
not, it's like the movie
love it.
Requiem for a Dream. Great movie. I don't think I
Haven't
ever need to
seen
see it again. It's just rough. It's just rough for me.
I'd read
but
this
it's
again.
wonderfully,
I
I
won't.
cannot wait for the show. And I think that after I watch the show, I might want to reread, you know what I'm saying? Up to that point at least.
I think we should do a bonus episode after the show. If we watch those 8 episodes. I think that would be
Yeah.
really fun to talk about
Please.
the adaptation.
A month we have like a 5-week month.
That would be
I
really
am
fun.
so
'Cause this
about
one,
that.
I think everyone in the chat too has been really excited by it. And also, before we go, Mastera is in the tree. He's I'm not going to say that. Connects 9 worlds where Odin is hung from in mythology. So that's really interesting.
Wowie.
Yes. Ooh.
There you go.
That's Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil.
I know that because
Sounds
of
like
the first Captain America
cream.
movie. Thank
Take 2, 1 in the morning and 1 at night.
Yeah,
with
it
food.
sounds like a drug.
The world tree.
Don't forget, guys, we're on Goodreads. Jump over Goodreads, check us out. We can comment on all our favorite books and what's going on there. And if you like books and talk about it, that's what this is all about. Search Alpha Book Club. Come discuss a few things with us. If you want to be on the show, though, and this is what's really, really cool, have a chat with us merely face to face. Worship media, because it's bringing us together. Let Courtney know in the chat. She's going to help move that process forward so you guys can Skype in. It's not painful. Ask Patch, ask all the other Java Book Geek girls.
Tyler.
Yeah, a bunch of people have been on it. If you've really said some amazing things, we'd love to have you on the show. And we need books for next month. We are throwing a few suggestions around.
Sure.
May the 4th is happening in May, of course, so a Star Wars book could pop up. But have you got a recommendation? Would love to know. At Nerdist, at Geek and Sundry, at Team Alpha. Jump on Twitter and let your thoughts known as well. You can use the hashtag Alpha Book Club too. Whew, we're going to be voting on our May selection. That's going to be good. Have you guys got any? Golden Compass. Let's get some fantasy back up.
Yeah, let's do a real fun one. That's not like
Potter.
Yeah. Never read it. Never read it. I was just having a discussion about Harry Potter last night. I'll tell you guys as soon as we stop filming. I'm so sorry, but a real quick thing. It'll be real fun and it makes me want to read it.
Oh.
I did the quiz again. I'm in Gryffindor. Anyway, be sure to
I got Ravenclaw and
Yeah.
Slytherin.
Hufflepuff coming your way, buddy.
I don't know what that. I don't know what I am yet.
Be sure to tune in on Monday,
You're
though, our
Gryffindor,
new
100%.
Alpha Comic
Thanks.
Book Club. Hector, what's happening with Alpha Comic Book Club and why aren't I in it?
Very exciting. I don't know why you're not in it. That's crazy. You should be in it. It's a
Yeah.
show where we are going to read a single graphic novel just the way that we did here on Alpha Book Club, where we read Wolverine Old Man Logan, and that was such a great time. It was so exciting, so much fun. And I think it's going to be starting up next week. Is that what's happening?
Monday.
6:15 p.m. You
How do
guys.
fit
What's
this into your
we haven't?
schedule?
What's that?
How do you fit this into your
So check it out. Monday, 6:15 p.m. We're reading a comic book. We're going to be tweeting out, and we'll let everybody know.
The vote's tomorrow, so
Yeah, we'll vote it out, and it's going to be awesome. And each week, you guys can decide which comic book, graphic novel we get to read. Have you never read Watchmen? Have you been like, what's that all about? Vote for it. We'll freaking read it, and then
It's way
we'll talk
better
about
than
it.
the movie.
Yeah. Although, listen,
When
I
you
have to
change
say-
the end, you fundamentally misunderstand the whole point of
all
the
I
graphic
was going to
novel.
say was that Jackie Earle Haley's performance
It's great.
better than any performance you could put in your mind when you read that book. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Doesn't fundamentally understand the
And stick around to choose your destiny, and then afterwards it's crafting comics with Jim Higgins and Tiffany Smith. You don't want to miss that. See you later, guys. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
So long, farewell.
I'll be those.